Oh man, this looks terrible. But it looks like, oh no, what's that? Oh man, this cabbage is just, gross. For the past 3 years, I've had the honor and opportunity to be one of the volunteers at a youth camp in Athens, Texas. And the goal of the camp is to teach and reinforce godly principles through various activities there. And each day of camp starts off with a daily motivational class, which gets everyone on the right frame of mind to start the day. And then the day is full of various classes and activities, one of which I had the opportunity to teach this year was speech class, and we had a great time in speech class. But in addition to that, there's also basketball, there's football, there's archery. Bam! Good job. Way to go, Micah. Man, that was good. And other things like water ski, which Josiah got out there for the very first time. But regretfully, this year at camp, Selah got injured. She tripped, fell, and ended up tearing open her leg. And we had to take her to the ER thinking she's definitely going to need stitches. But in fact, she ended up getting staples in her leg. And let me tell you, she's a champ. She handled the pain of the injury and the staples getting put in and didn't even shed a tear about it. She's definitely a champ. She's tough. Definitely tough. And after a couple days, it actually started not to look good, and the nurse that was on site was saying, I think you might be getting close to an infection. You need to do something about that. So we were like, man, let's go take her to one of the church elders that happens to be on site. He prayed for her and anointed her, and within just a few hours, we saw a big change in her leg, and she started healing up very fast. And even though she did have some restrictions on what she was able to do at camp with the injury, she was able to heal up enough in time to enjoy the special final formal dance at the end. And she did look very beautiful in that dress. And I was even impressed at how well she did when the nurse was taking the staples out.
Deepest one. Yeah, okay, so let's just look at it.
And despite Selah's injury, I must say I feel camp was a success. But whenever we leave the farmstead, it's not easy. It's not easy to leave, and it's not easy coming back. And I usually have to remind myself during those times that life is about balance. I never want me nor our children to feel like they're in bondage to our homestead. So that's why it's important for me, for us, at various times of the year to get out and do different things. It's important. And this time, when we came back from camp, it was even more challenging. Because around the time that we were away, this area got something like 10 days of rain. And when I came back home, I was really shocked at what I saw. Oh wow, this is crazy. I can't even see my plants anymore, really. Oh, there's some okra in there, but it looks way different than it did. Been gone a few days, and it's like the storm that came through. I guess like God had his miracle grow in it, because things have just grown like crazy. Man, the grass has gotten so tall. Man. And another thing that made this even more challenging was while we were away, my lawn tractor broke down on our farm helper. And as we come back home, we see the lawn tractor just sitting there right by the road. So I didn't have use of my lawn tractor. So I was like, we gotta do something. So I just busted out the push mower to start getting this place under control. All right, you ready back there? What are you doing? Are you ready? Huh? Are know some of you are like, Mike, why don't you just move the animals in there and let them just eat everything up? Yeah, we do that some, but there's so much grass and it's so disruptive to the areas that we need to move and work in that I just got to mow it. And when we got back home, Lacie was feeling under the weather, so Hezekiah tagged along with me as I was gradually, slowly push mowing some of our grass back to normal height. Originally, I purchased this push lawnmower to help me mow in tight spots as well as to bag grass clippings for some of our livestock. And I never intended for this to be the primary mower that I use here on the farmstead. But in order to start making some progress on this grass that's just gotten out of control, I had to use it. And as I'm mowing, I'm seeing that even though it hasn't rained lately, the ground is still wet. And since the grass is so tall, it would be like I'd mow a little here, a little there, and then the mower would clog up. Or I would mow a little bit more here, a little bit there, and then the bag is full, and I had to go take it to the chickens or something.
All I've heard all day long is the mower starting and going a little bit and then stopping, and I know that bagger is so full. And I feel bad because it's so hot outside and I can't help it all. I got sick at the end of camp and had a fever for over 2 days, and thankfully I was okay enough to come home and ride in the car, but I've just been wiped out since we got home. So it's hard for me to even take care of the baby right now. I'm so glad Mike can strap him on his back.
And since there was so much grass that needed to be cut, I'm like, alright, let's break this down, Mike. Let's first focus on the areas that we need to focus on first. Let's mow the grass in front of the house because it was ridiculously tall. 2, and then let's mow pathways to our livestock so that way we can easily take care of them. And as I'm mowing, I'm coming across areas that the grass is even taller. Dude, look at this. This grass shot up as tall as my fruit tree is right now. Man, check that out. It's a young fruit tree, but still, it's close to it. Man. So my first full day back from the trip, I mowed and mowed some more, and we also took our lawn tractor to be worked on. And there's not a lot of shops around here that I could just easily take our equipment to. But there's this guy, and it's good to have one of those guys that works on our equipment, and we dropped it off with him for him to work on. Ready? So I mow again, giving grass clippings to the ducks. And more grass clippings to the ducks. What?
Has it ever been like this? So much grass?
I mean, I've had times where the mowers have been down, but I've never seen it like this. This is crazy. Hang in there. We've been through some tough things before. We can get through this. And since there was so much to cut, there was no way I was going to be able to get it all done in one day. So the next day, I went back at it. Oh boy, it's been quite the process, mowing down the grass and getting things mostly back to normal. But I still have a lot more to do. So far I've just been able to mow around the house and in the main walkways that we need to get to the animals and others. But we still have a lot more to do in the garden. I haven't even touched that yet. Oh man, this looks terrible. All that work of keeping things nice and tidy, and then boom, just in a short time it just looks terrible. This is just absolutely ridiculous how fast this grass has grown. Man, I can still see some ochre in there, but it looks like, oh no, what's that? What's that? Oh man, this cabbage is just, gross. Man, what the world, all that rain just made it a soupy, mushy mess, yuck. All right, I can still make out some other things, just barely. I see my squash over there still, and our basil, and some peppers. At this point, seeing what was once my garden that had pretty sunflowers, which are now burnt out sunflowers, and that had tidy plants that you could see really clearly, but now who knows what's still there. That combined with the muggy, hot, humid air on top of the slow grind of slowly mowing this grass. All of that was pretty frustrating and tiring. I just don't know if I can do it. There's just so much. Then I remember the words of Master Yoda.
That is why you fail.
Hey, that's not Yoda. That's Grogu. All right. I'll give it a try.
Do or do not. There is no try.
All right. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. And then Sayla kindly brought me something to drink. got there?
I got you some electrolytes.
Oh, thanks.
You're welcome. Say you're welcome.
Hey, thanks for the electrolytes. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Getting to this point, it's like, all right, it's time to get a second wind. It's time to get back at this. But I'm like, let's just do something a little different. Let's switch up the tools. And I'm like, let's just start weed eating. And while weed eating, I was gradually able to work the weeds down to a point that I could actually start seeing my basil plants, my pepper plants, and my squash plants still there. And our oldest son, Josiah, he's becoming a pretty good landscaper. So I went back to mowing and handed the weed eater off to him. And while I was mowing, I found something else. There we go. Right in here in the midst of this monstrous size lamb's quarters, we have arugula. Look at there. Definitely not ideal as far as where it's growing in here, but definitely usable. See how much we can get out of here. I have to sorted some of it out. A little thicker here. I've seen areas like this in the past. There was a snake in it. So just use a little bit of extra caution. Oh yeah! I'm not sure what that is. Just trying to make loud noise to hopefully scare it away. Alrighty. Definitely not ideal. But we're not going to completely lose this harvest. Right there. Gradually making progress. Definitely not the ideal, but we're gonna get this harvest of arugula. Not let it go to waste. Find a few things in there that shouldn't be in there. Yeah. And that we're getting there. And as I was finishing up with the arugula, Selah harvested some of our mushroom basket tomatoes. And I absolutely love those tomatoes. They taste fantastic on a sandwich. Actually, they're good to use on a lot of different things. The arugula was a nice little break from mowing, but I did have to go back out and mow some more. But regretfully, even on the second day, I wasn't able to finish mowing. So on to the third day. But at this point, thankfully I got the call that the lawn tractor was ready. So we headed over to pick it up as fast as I could. Dude, I don't believe this. I just got through cutting this and it's grown again. And I haven't even had the chance to finish cutting the rest of the areas. But thankfully we got the lawn tractor back. See if I can get all of this cut and finally caught up. Mowing with the lawn tractor is multiple times faster and multiple times easier than push mowing. And besides, there were some areas that the grass is so tall, there's no way that the push mower was going to be able to do it. But would this area be too much and too tall for the lawn tractor too? Might be a challenge even for the lawn tractor. It's the area I haven't gotten to yet. It's got pretty tall. Kind of saving it for the lawn tractor because I didn't want to try it with push mower. Hopefully I can get it cut. Got through that first pass, and after that, thankfully, it did get easier. And as I was mowing, it was also nice to see fruit on the fruit trees, to see persimmons on the persimmon trees and apples on the apple trees. Have it on the highest setting here. Still have trouble sometimes. It's doing it, but it ain't doing it with ease. So I was making some good progress until this happened, and it felt like my heart stopped. What was that? Oh man, I didn't even know that was in there. Come on. Get out of there. Dude, look at that. Had no idea that was there. Or forgot about it. Hold on. I can't remember. But thankfully, the tub did not damage the lawn tractor. And I was able to keep going and making some progress. And now finally, after 3 or 4 days or whatever it's been of mowing, we finally are mostly caught up. Still have some areas that we need to tighten up on, but we didn't lose everything. Not everything's ruined. There are some spots like you saw, but for the most part, the garden isn't completely ruined. Whew. And it brings to mind the theme from camp. It was based off Psalm 34:19. It said, "Many are the afflictions of the righteous, but the Lord shall deliver him out of them all." So, trying to do the right thing doesn't mean that you'll have no problems at all. You'll be problem free. No, trying to do the right things, you can still face problems, but God can deliver you out of them all. Even if it's tall grass, deliver you through the tall grass. Sit still, please. Here we go. Whoops.